Hi, so this is going to be my very first post to YouTube, so we'll see how it goes. Who knows? So I created a channel because I thought people might want to know. I'm a single lady in my early 50s. I'm actually living with my mom because the area I live in, the housing market is just crazy, and I'm not going to go house poor. That's not my house back there with the red roof. I'm hoping it might be, but it's not right now. So I'm going to show you what I do. Like I said, I'm single. I live with my mom. I have just at a quarter of an acre in this little tiny town in north central Idaho. We're on a river. And I want to show you what I do in my spare time to try and just have some fresh fruit, get outside, get some dirt under my nails, which is one of the things that I love to do. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of the garden that I've done so far this year and some of the plants that my mom has had for many years, and just to show you how everything is going. So let's turn this, and so I have a row of tomatoes interspersed with some marigolds and some nasturtiums. So the marigolds and nasturtiums are primarily because they help keep the bugs down, and so that's just a good thing. And then I also try to do companion planting. So I have onions and I have basil. And so you see the red deals, those are called Walla Waters or Cozy Coats. And I use them on my tomatoes and peppers, and they allow me, I'm in zone 7A here in Idaho, but it's been really cold this year. So the Cozy Coats allow me to start my tomatoes a little bit earlier, and as you can see, I'm going to have to take them off because the tomatoes are starting to come up over, like this one up here has got to come off today because it's growing over the top. It doesn't seem to stop them from being pollinated at all, so that's always a good thing. My peppers are doing pretty good. I mean, we've been 50s, low 60s, which is not ideal for peppers, so they're actually doing pretty well. Some of them are getting close to growing out the top of, like this one right here. And I'd actually have to look, and you can see it's got a flower on it. So these are my tomatoes and peppers, and again, I have like cilantro planted in between the peppers, and I have onions because I try to do some companion planting. And then I have a couple of, those are my cabbages. And then I have some onions in between, and then some celery, and then some dill, and then I've succession planted a couple of different kinds of cucumbers. So I'm out of pickles because I love to can, so I will show you some of my canning stuff later on in the season. And I'm hoping I get enough cucumbers that I can do pickles this year. So I put in a whole bunch of, you can see here, they're Boston Pickling and Marketmore cucumbers, and more fern. My mom's garden has had horseradish that has taken over. And as you can see, I am not a perfect gardener by any means, and I'm actually trying something new this year, which is a no-till gardening. So you put down cardboard, you put down straw, compost, and more straw, and you just build up your rows. So I'm hoping it works this year. It's been super easy, and actually I don't have a lot of weeds, so I'm really hopeful for it. But we'll see with this outside bed, because it's going to be my worst because I've not weeded anything along the fence line or the grapes. But this one is pretty much all onions, different kinds of onions. Like I said, I live in Idaho, and I do have access to Walla Walla sweets, so those are one that I grow, because you do have to be careful with onions on how much daylight you get, because they are daylight determinant. So just a neat little fact that I've recently learned. So my mom's garden has got grapes, and as you can see, I don't know if you can get in close enough, but they are pretty loaded. You can see right here, this is the grapes, and they'll turn once they get a little bit bigger. So that's the grapes. And then we have a big raspberry trellis. My brother did this raspberry trellis, and it's just a post with some 2x4s and a cattle panel, and it grows up. So here's the top section, and you just weave them up into it, and you can see there is a bottom piece down here as well. So got lots of raspberries on. So I'm hopeful we'll have a good raspberry harvest. We also have a lot of blackberries, and the blackberries here almost grow wild and they get to be a nuisance. But these ones were actually planted, so we'll see how they do this year. And then I planted some Connecticut field pumpkins because I want a few pumpkins. I have a little area. And then I'm not even sure how to pronounce this one. Marma de Chico squash. So it's a green skinned squash that's sort of warty. So I'm hopeful for that. And then we have a pear tree that has pears on it. And then the apple tree over there. I also planted some sugar pie pumpkins because I'm hoping I have some pumpkin. If you can't, you can can pumpkin if you do it in cubes, like 1-inch cubes. So then but you can't do mashed like for a pumpkin pie. So you can see the garden chives and her bleeding hearts, which I love bleeding hearts since I was a little kid. We have a few strawberries. And I'm going to hurry this along because it's starting to sprinkle again. My neighbors have some chickens in a cute little chicken coop that I love. So the birds dropped off some hops at one point, and so now she has hops growing wild here. They just self-seeded, so they keep going. And then she's got a plum tree. And I haven't checked the plum tree yet to see. We do have a couple of blueberries, and they are starting to get some blooms, so I'm hopeful. We're not going to have a whole lot this year, it doesn't look like, but we should get a few. And even though I live in town, last year we had a bear come in the backyard and ate the blueberries. We have a huge rhubarb plant. And then I have, what are these ones? These are my acorn squash that I have right here, and I'm trying some bags on those. My mom wanted to try some zucchini in a hay bale, so I need to get some more. All my seeds I started from, or all my plants I started from seed, and for some reason my zucchini just did not do super well. I only got 2, so we're going to see what happens. And then I have a whole bunch of spaghetti squash in this one, and I have some potatoes here. And then this one is a cantaloupe. And as you can see, again, we have more grapes. The grapes like to just take over. I'm at the point now where I just whack them off. So there is onions in here on the side yard. And there are some asparagus plants in there, but the asparagus are new, and I'm not sure if how they're going to do this year. So we'll have to wait and see. More onions because I love onions. Now, this was a new one for me because I start seeds and I hate having them inside on grow lights all the time. So I just bought this little greenhouse off of Amazon. And this is what I've been using. I had to strap it actually to the fence because we've had some really high winds. And so I have some Waltham butternut squash and a couple more spaghetti squash. Some basil, some sage, some marjoram. More tomatoes. I always have way too many tomatoes. A Thai basil, which has really done well in the heat and moisture. It wasn't doing well because it was too cold. And then we have just some marigold and another pepper plant and some miscellaneous herbs that I have. So at one point I had this completely full, so I'm doing good. Here I have some carrots that are slowly starting to come up. They've been in the ground about 2 weeks, and like I said, it's been pretty cold, so I'm happy they're finally coming up. Some more herbs and some pretty flowers. I have some more potatoes and rosemary, and then my mosquito plant and some more flowers. So that's about it for this time. Hopefully I can keep doing a couple of these posts every now and then just to sort of show what's going on, and I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.